Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Karen.
We are Retired Young.
Saguaro National Park is located in southern Arizona. The park is located around Tucson. It was originally two separate parks. Then back in 1994 they were combined into one park and elevated and given national park status.
This is the drive-in to the West Park. I think Mike was trying to see if the motorhome could be airborne. Neither of the parks have any RV camping. The first park we stayed at was Gilbert Ray Campground. It was next to the West Park.
It was a beautiful campground. Plenty of space, lots of solitude.
They limit you to 7 nights because it's so popular. Right down the road is the visitor center for the West Park.
We stayed in the first campground for a week and it was wonderful. Someone there referred us to a different park over by the east side, the Catalina State Campground, and they put us in the overflow area and it was, as you can see here, it wasn't very nice. The main campground at Catalina looks like a much nicer campground. However, it was full and it's tough to get into.
The best thing about Catalina State Park were the mountain views. On the day we drove from the west side to the east side, I drove the Jeep separately because it was only 30 miles away. We didn't want to hook and disconnect. Mike's phone wasn't working, so we used walkie-talkies for our communication. I told Mike to go east on 10, and I made a mistake. Instead, we were supposed to go west. I corrected it right away, but he didn't even hear it. So how was that my fault? Anyways, we made it back together, and Mike just got a little extra scenic tour of Tucson.
Got a big news flash here. One thing you can expect to see a lot of in Saguaro National Park is saguaro cactuses. Somebody's always got to be a little different. We made it to the top of Wasan Peak and it was pretty cool. While we were up there we met 3 other groups from Minnesota. Seems like we ran into Minnesota people over and over while we were in Saguaro National Park. The hike on the east side had a lot more water. Because they've had so much rain this year, all the plants were blooming and, well, I don't know if they're blooming. They were doing something anyway. They were looking nice. We made it to Bridal Falls. We saw lots of hikers on a lot of the trails. Parking lots at the trailheads were overflowing. On one of our hikes, we came across Sheriff Joe Arpaio dealing with an unruly prisoner.
The first thing we liked about Saguaro National Park was the saguaro cacti. It is an icon of the American Southwest. It can take 50 to 70 years before it starts to grow arms. The saguaro can hold over a ton of water. It really is an amazing and beautiful plant. The second thing we liked about the area is there's lots to do. Old Tucson, International Wildlife Museum, Desert Museum, and the list goes on. The third thing we liked was that it was close to a metro area. One night we went out to a nice restaurant, and another night we went to a movie.
The overall issue we had with Saguaro National Park is that we like the national park to be the star of the show. In this case, it seemed like it was overshadowed by the city. As you can see on this map, it's not even the largest park in the area. We didn't do every hike within the park, but it seemed like the ones we did, you always had a view of the city and you found yourself looking where I-10 was. On USA Today's list of the 10 best hiking areas in Tucson, It's not even rated number 1, it's rated number 2. Don't get us wrong, they're beautiful parks. It just seemed like Saguaro National Park was a relatively small part of Tucson. It's part of what makes Tucson a real special place, but it's not the star of the show, befitting a national park. That's our humble opinion anyway.